There have been 30 new locally acquired cases of COVID-19 recorded in New South Wales overnight. 28 are linked to the Northern Beaches cluster, and the other 2 cases are still under investigation but are also located on the Northern Beaches. In response, the New South Wales government has introduced new restrictions to prevent seeding events outside the Northern Beaches cluster that come into effect tonight at midnight.
In order to protect the rest of Sydney and the rest of New South Wales from any potential seeding events, which to date we've managed, can I please ask everybody to do the following. There'll be health orders today which will say that until the end of the lockdown period in the Northern Beaches, everybody in the Greater Sydney area, including the Central Coast and the Blue Mountains, we're asking you not to have more than 10 people in your home, in addition to whoever lives in your home, until midnight on Wednesday. Again, as a precaution, because we know that indoor settings in small areas actually exacerbate or accelerate the spread.
For more on the new rules imposed for Greater Sydney, here's reporter Ashley Raper.
There are 30 new locally acquired cases here in New South Wales. Now, 28 of those are directly linked to the Avalon cluster. And now the number associated with that cluster has now grown to 68. So there's a significant number of cases there. Now, of the other 2 cases in the new cases that were announced today, 2 are from the Northern Beaches. So they haven't been directly linked to that Avalon cluster. They may or may not be throughout the course of the day, but the government and the health authorities here today were very much buoyed by the fact that those 2 cases were still on the Northern Beaches. So, look, there was clearly a lot of concern from the Premier, the New South Wales Chief Medical Officer Kerry Chant and the Health Minister Brad Hazzard here today just about these growing number of cases. But they are quite positive in the fact that at this present moment that they're still contained to the Northern Beaches.
And Ashley, of course, we also have restrictions in place. Just take us through what the new rules are.
Yeah, so in response to this growing cluster on the Northern Beaches, now this is aside from people on the Northern Beaches because obviously they have been in lockdown, but from midnight tonight for the rest of Greater Sydney, the Blue Mountains and the Central Coast, we will revert back to some restrictions that have been in place previously. Now the most significant one is that 10 people will only be allowed to visit a house. So that is a substantial decrease in that. They'll also go back to in all inside venues, pubs, clubs, restaurants. All those places will now have to go to the 1 person per 4 square metres. Now that had been increased to 1 person per 2 square metres. So we're going back to that old rule. And there'll also be a cap of 300 people in those venues. So no matter how big the venue is, they will still only be able to have 300 people in that venue. Now the advice is also to people in Sydney should wear masks. They're not mandatory, but they should wear masks and really limit activity. And now this is for the next 3 days until Wednesday, which is also when the lockdown in the Northern Beaches is. So really here the government and health authorities saying they're just assessing the situation. They're going to see how it goes over the next few days and then make an announcement on Wednesday, which is just 2 days before Christmas, to really see what they're going to do. So yes, there's restrictions, there's advice here in Sydney, but at this stage there's still quite a lot of uncertainty what Christmas Day will look like on Friday.